guys, welcome to my channel. I thought today I'd go through my outlining process with you. I've been seeing a lot of vision boards on my feed lately. I guess people are doing them for their New Year's goals and resolutions they want to put out for the new year. I personally don't think I've done a vision board before, maybe once. It seems like a really great idea. You know, you visualize your goals, keep them in front of you. It gives you something tangible to look at. And I thought it would be a great idea to use that for my storyboarding process. Usually I do a very traditional outline. I kind of just write some ideas down of where I want the story, what I want the story to be, where I want it to go, and I flesh it out on paper. But I thought maybe a visual representation of that would be kind of fun to do, kind of like a collage in a collage format. I know a visual outline is more like a storyboard, and it's more organized, like scene one, this is what happens, the first act, the second act. But I thought I didn't want it to be as rigid as that. I wanted it to be a little bit more fluid, a little bit more like an organized chaos. And I thought it would just be fun. I like putting together collages and just use that as like an outline. And it can be, and since I'm going to do it in a digital format, I'm not gonna do it the traditional way people do vision boards, where they like cut out pieces of paper and, you know, arrange them on like a cardstock or OTAC or whatever, like a big piece of thing. I'm gonna do it digitally. I'm gonna do it with you guys. I've never done this before digitally, so I hope it works out because we're gonna try it right now. And I think it's just fun to try something new to help to get the creative juices flowing. So let's try it out. So before we get started, I wanted to go over my outlining process, what I regularly do. Generally, I'm a very tactile person, and I prefer to do my outlines and jotting down of any ideas in actual notebooks. For structure, I still use some version of a plot diagram. That was that old outline format that we learned in elementary school. Fun facts, I'm actually a big fan of Rick and Morty. So of course, I've tried to update my process and use Dan Harmon's story circle, which, if I remember correctly, is actually loosely based on Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. I'm actually basing how I structured the story that we're going to work on today on Harman's story circle. The story we're going to outline today is actually a story I've been sitting on for a couple years now, since around summer 2021. Maybe that's why I've had so much trouble trying to complete this story. I'm using two techniques that I've not used before. One being Dan Harmon's story circle. The second new method we'll talk about in a little bit. So the idea for the story actually came from one of my nieces. I have two nieces whose names start with J, and this story actually comes from the younger one, who I sometimes refer to as Little J. So let's just start with that. We'll just title this story for now Little J story, since number one, I don't know what the story is going to be about and where the characters are going to go. So Little J story, I think, will suit us just fine. So the second new method that I'm trying with this story is that I'm actually using tarot cards to pull backgrounds and descriptions of the characters and for plot points. The reason why I'm using tarot cards mostly is because my niece, Little J, I found out that she had actually started getting into tarot cards. I did a video previously talking about that a little bit. So that's also the reason why I wanted to use those cards for this story. So she gave me 4 characters. She gave me a basic description and their names. And I'm going to assume that she kind of based these on some of her friends. I'm not 100% sure on that. I never asked. So I thought this first part, we'd stick a little bit with her characters, get to know who they are, and just kind of essentially flesh out a little bit of the exposition. So my niece gave me 4 characters. The first character that she gave me was for Madison. So this is a description for Madison. She is 14, female, average height, brown hair and eyes with light skin. So what I actually did was I put in these character descriptions in an AI image generator. So, well, first let's start out with Madison. Blue blockers. So first let's start out with Madison. And the AI image generator gave me, this is who they gave me for Madison. So the reason she has flowers in her hair is because the card that I pulled, I explained in another video how I pulled tarot cards to get the descriptions and certain plot points for the story. The card that I actually pulled for Madison was the Knight of Cups. The deck I'm using for this is a deck I found online. It's called This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Roth. I'll put a link to the tarot deck down below in the description. So the reason why I picked this tarot deck was because they use modern pictures in place of the standard tarot, and I thought that would work best for our story since it's a story that's in a modern setting. So the card that I pulled for Madison was the Knight of Cups. The description for the Knight of Cups is romantic proposals, invitations, a love interest in yourself, in the throes of full love, following your heart, feeling inspired, guided by emotions, being in love with love, can represent being swept up in a romantic whirlwind while ignoring other aspects of your life, possibly too busy daydreaming to live your real life. So to me that read very hopeless romantic, so that's why I had the AI generator create her image with flowers in her hair. I love this deck because it's so modern looking. Like the traditional Knight of Cups is a person on a horse carrying a chalice. And here we have someone riding on a motorcycle carrying a coffee cup. So I just thought the whole modern look of this deck would serve well for the purpose that we're using it today. So this is our Madison. So we have Knight of Cups for Madison. So the next character we have is Liam. And the description that my niece gave for Liam was Liam, male, 13, average height, curly brown hair and eyes, dark skin. And this is who I got. This is who came up with the AI generator. And the reason this person is playing basketball is because actually my niece who gave me these characters, she's really into basketball. And of all the cards that I pulled for these characters, Liam's was the only one that felt like it had a more basketball vibe. The card that I pulled for Liam was the Page of Swords. And the reason why I got a basketball vibe from Liam is because the descriptions that come with this card are confident, open to new ideas, fairness, can be indecisive, and prone to lying. But I think it was mostly the confident aspect. This person can be inspiring to be around and hopefully reignite a zest for learning. So I guess the main thing that read basketball to me was confident. Like I always imagine athletes to have this very confident air about them. So that's why this character, I asked the AI generator to give him to me as a basketball player. There were more pictures of Liam. I forgot to put Liam's name. There were more pictures of Liam, but sometimes AI generators are funny and when they can get really crazy and distorted. So some of the pictures didn't look as real, so this was the only picture that looked the best. And I think even like if you look at his hand a little bit, it looks a little weird, like a little bit of a web situation. So I think that might have been because I asked for the basketball aspect. So this was the only usable picture I had for Liam. So for Liam, I have the Page of Swords. And so the next character we have is Andy. So Andy is a male, 14, tall, light-skinned, dark blue eyes, strawberry blonde hair. And when I put that in the AI generator, I got this guy. And I guess it doesn't really read essentially blonde hair, blue eyes, but I am loving the guy that the AI generator spit out. So this is all Andy. Like, he's a brooding sad boy, and the reason why he's a brooding sad boy is because the card that I pulled for him was the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords, let me let you look at the card. So the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Swords reads as someone feeling stuck or trapped. There's a sense of a fear of failure, self-sabotage, needs to overcome fears. So that's why I told the AI generator to give me kind of a depressed or sulking, brooding look. And so that's our Andy. And the last character we have is our not so plain Jane, 14, female. She's short with light brown skin, curly brown hair, and green eyes. And so this is who the AI generator spit out. I love a curly queen. If I open this up, you can really see like the green, you see the green eyes and the curly hair, which I love. And we'll give her orange. So this is our not so plain Jane. So this is the, oh, I forgot to put her card. The card that I pulled for Jane was the Three of Coins or Pentacles. Most people like to say Pentacles. I like to say coins. So the description for this card is teamwork, being focused, doesn't like to be overlooked. And so for me, just hearing that made me feel like a very studious character. So I asked the AI generator to give me someone that looked like they were doing their homework, I suppose. So these are so those are the initial cards that I pulled for their characters. We get a basic idea of who they are. So Madison is like a hopeless romantic. Liam, he's very focused. Andy, he's got some kind of sadness or depression about him. Jane, she's very hardworking, studious. But people are a lot more complex than that. So what I did was I actually pulled 2 more cards for each person, just so that we could get a little bit more depth of character, get to know a little bit more about them, and then hopefully have their character kind of help us out with the plot and to kind of see where the story is going. Because sometimes if you get a sense of who a person is, you can kind of make an inference of what type of decisions they would make when you put them in different situations. So I pulled 3 more cards, and the cards that I pulled, so the 2 other cards I pulled for Madison were the Five of Swords. So this is the Five of Swords. So this is one of the first cards that I pulled for Madison, and the Five of Swords, let's see, what does that mean? The Five of Swords descriptive reads as battles, arguments, defeat can be real and perceived. If there's a conflict and you identify with the picture and with the image with the figure in the foreground. If there's a conflict and you identify with the figure in the foreground, you will win, but the cost may be heavy. You'll probably feel quite mixed up about it in the end. Alternatively, you may be one of the figures in the background, in which case someone is about to screw you over. Okay, so I'm feeling Madison is more of a foreground character. So that is reading a little bit of toxic love energy to me. Why do I say that? Because she's a hopeless romantic. But this card is saying to me that she is very open to conflict and willing to do anything to get her person, which isn't inherently bad. Like, to say that you will do anything for your relationship, that's not inherently bad, but this card has the added aspect of being willing to betray, or that a betrayal is on the horizon, and that you are the one that's going to be holding the knife to act upon that betrayal. So that feels a bit more toxic to me. So for that, I'm gonna say, let's add in for Madison, win at all costs. So win at all costs, right? The second card I pulled for Madison was the Two of Cups. So here's the Two of Cups. This is sometimes referred to as the marriage card, I believe. And the description on this card reads as happiness, relationships, love, marriage. A romantic relationship, a joining of two people in harmony. It can also describe a platonic and business relationship. So essentially this card is about relationships, right? We get that. So that actually goes along really well with the kind of story we're developing for Madison's character. So she will do anything for her relationship. So her main card is the Knight of Cups, but she's got daggers waiting. She's got daggers waiting in the wings to protect her relationship, to protect it, to, I don't know, maybe to obtain it. We don't know yet. So let's see, what can we say about Madison? So we can say is willing to betray, because that's what the five of swords is essentially saying. Willing to betray for the sake of her relationship. So Madison she's getting a little, is it psycho vibes? I don't know if it's psycho vibes, but she's a very passionate person. We've already got that. We've got that. Madison is number one, a passionate person. And yeah, let's, would have to see where the rest of the story goes with that, what she'll do with that. But that's already very interesting to me. Okay, so the next two cards I pulled for Liam are the Seven of Swords. So we got this guy. I actually got another Seven of Swords. This card actually comes from a deck. I believe it's called either the Dark Mansion or the Haunted Mansion. I'll link this deck in the description below as well. I really liked the pictures. I just thought it gave me kind of like a Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas vibe, and I loved it. So the Seven of Swords, what does that mean? It already kind of looks a little shady. So the Seven of Swords, it means, unsurprisingly, dishonesty, deceit, manipulation, theft, spying. This represents the deceitful nature of your actions. Be aware of the methods you are using to gain advantage and solve your problems. They will likely catch up with you eventually. Okay, so I think we're gonna go with this guy on the right, the Dark Mansion deck, Dark Mansion, Haunted Mansion deck, because this one with the swords, I don't know, it feels a little, because this one gives me more of the thievery vibe, whereas this one, it is also thievery, but it's kind of just like, because you could see the guy, you could see the person in the house and he's kind of running. It doesn't feel as calculated. And for someone who is as confident as Liam is, I feel like if he's gonna do something like that, it's gonna be a little bit more calculated. So this one with the guy running in the snow, it feels a little spur of the moment, where the one walking on the roof feels a little bit more like it was just a planned out robbery. So let's go with the Seven of Swords on that. So what could we do with that card in regards to Liam? So he's a basketball player. And we have to incorporate thievery into his character. And he's also confident. Maybe he's not, because initially I was thinking maybe he was like the star of the basketball team, but then maybe he's actually not the star of the basketball team. Maybe he's like the second star on the team, and he wants to get ahead and kind of steal the spotlight, if you will, from the main basketball star on their team. So then maybe he's willing to do some deceptive practices or deceptive things to be able to attain that number one spot. So what can we say about Liam? Deception to get ahead. Okay, so the second card that I pulled for Liam was the Moon. So I have two cards here for the Moon. This again is from that Haunted or the Dark Mansion deck. And this one I also found online. I thought it was just interesting. It just reminded me more of a comic book type of feel. But let's see, what is that? What does the moon even mean? The moon, confusion, delusion, allowing emotions to take control of your life. You are confused and unsure. Everything is not as it seems. There are hidden truths in your life that need to be uncovered. Something about a situation or person in your life is not what it appears to be, and you need to trust what your instincts are telling you in order to see past the illusion. So I feel like that still kind of goes with the line of, even though it's more so saying that he will get this. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is causing him. Maybe this is paranoia. Like maybe all the things that he's willing to do to get ahead, like all his deceptive practices, now he's starting to feel paranoid. Other people are kind of doing the same thing to him. You know, like a thief always thinks someone is stealing from them, that kind of vibe. So for that, I mean, these both kind of, I don't know which card. This one is a little bit illusion-y, I guess. This one, I don't. So maybe we'll go with the illusion-y card, the comic book card. So she's like, illusion, mystery, no, don't trust. You gotta be careful who you trust. Right? So maybe that is what Liam is giving. So he wants to be star player. About that leads to paranoia towards all others around him. Wants to be star player, uses deceptive practices that eventually leads to paranoia towards all others around him. So it's like he presents as this like, oh, I'm cool, I just have all my I'm just writing off my talent, but actually he's like doing undermined things in the background just to get ahead. I don't know what those undermined things are, but that's what he's doing according to the cards. Okay, so let's move on to our brooding sad boy, Andy. So the next card I pulled for Andy was the 5 of Coins. Okay, coins are usually about coins. Pentacles are usually about money. So what does that have to do with Andy? Oh, what a sad card. My heart. Poor Andy. Okay. So this doesn't look so great. 5 of Coins. It represents financial hardship, struggle, lack of faith, a difficult time, ensures. Acknowledge that you have hard times. You have come upon hard times. It strongly suggests that help is available to you and there are no trophies for misery. Work is lost. Money dries up. Family and friends either turn their backs or cannot help you. Yikes. Okay, so maybe this is why Andy is feeling so depressed. Maybe he is having a hard time with his financial lot in life and he's feeling trapped. So let's see, depressed about. So he's feeling trapped about his financial status. Maybe they all go to like an affluent boarding school and maybe Andy is like a financial scholarship kid. I'm assuming these characters are, well, not assuming, but I feel like we're gonna work with all these characters as a group of friends, and so maybe the other 3 are more well off and Andy isn't, and he maybe feels self-conscious about that, and maybe he feels trapped and it's really weighing down on him and how he sees himself in the group. My poor Andy. Oh. When you fall in love with a fictional character, right? So the next card I pull for Andy is Temperance. Okay, this looks fun. This guy pouring water with wings. That looks fun. Temperance. Oh, the zodiac sign for this is Sagittarius. He's a Sag boy. Okay, a sad Sag boy. This card is about balance, moderation, good health, cooperating with others, finding solutions, avoid all extreme situations, approach with special care and patience, hold back from quick reactive emotional judgment, If trying to decide between two things, consider the middle ground or even accepting both. So maybe this is where he is. So he's kind of struggling with living in two worlds. Maybe at school and with his friends, he's getting that sense of the more luxurious life. And then when he goes home, obviously he doesn't have that. And so maybe he's kind of dipping between two worlds, and it's causing a lot of internal conflict within him. Maybe a lot of conflict on how he views himself and his place in the world. Like where is he supposed to put his loyalties to someplace? Maybe if he hangs out with too many of his rich friends or whatever, maybe he gets a lot of slack from his like old friends, like neighborhood friends, that think he's like being stuck up now or something. And maybe also something vice versa, like his affluent friends, his more well-off friends look down on like his old neighborhood, or like, you know, however he's living, whatever. So maybe he is going between these two worlds. He's feeling both trapped and conflicted. So maybe that's our Andy. Maybe that's our sad boy Andy. Oh, my heart, poor Andy. So it's like affecting him in that way. Oh, feeling conflicted, depressed, and trapped. Oh no! Living in two worlds. So I guess there's a character limit for your sticky notes. Wealthy friends versus old neighborhood. That's our Andy. Oh, Andy. The first card is like the card that they kind of present to the world and that everybody kind of knows them for. And then these other cards are like what they're dealing with on the inside. So for Jane, the next card I pull for Jane is the 5 of Cups. Oh no. Oh, Jane. Oh no. That's not great. 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups means sadness, loss, loneliness, depression, grief, loss and emotional pain, feeling disappointed and let down, mourning, wallowing in self-pity, being too busy, being miserable to see opportunities and good in your life. May represent someone close to you that is in a low state and cannot see the help that you're trying to offer. So let's see. Could this be like Jane worrying about Andy, or is this her going through her own grief? Because if it's about Andy, then I want to use the card on the left. But if it's about her, then I want to use the card on the right. Well, this card is really supposed to, because is it that one of her issues is she's trying to help Andy? But why? No, I think it should be that she's going through something, because we're pulling a card for her character. We've already pulled Andy's card. We know Andy's deal. So I don't think her helping a friend needs to be a part of her core personality. Like, yes, of course she's gonna want to help her friend, but I don't think that's what we're trying to get at right here. So I'm gonna pick this card because if it feels more representing of grief. Yeah, so I'm sorry, my love, I've given you pain. You are grieving. I don't know who you're grieving, but you're grieving. Okay, so I'm gonna write, so we have her internally grieving. So internally grieving. The next card I pulled for Jane is the Star. So we have this card, and I also have this other Star card. That's the comic, it's kind of like that comic booky deck. So, okay, what does the Star mean? The Star means hope, renewal, creativity, healing, recovery. May represent a time of recovery after a traumatic event or letting go of baggage. Past issues are being healed. Okay, so she is grieving. Apparently she is grieving someone. I'm gonna go with this card on the left. It looks a little bit more, you know, solemn, but moving forward, the card on the right is just, it's just giving me too fantastical. So we're gonna go with the Star. So what did we say for Jane? should it be, who should she have lost? Is it a friend? Is it a sibling? I don't want to go with parent. I feel like that's a little too deep right now. I'm not in that space to go through that, to have to write through that. I don't know if it's going to be a sibling or friend. So maybe we'll just decide later because of the loss of a sibling slash friend. So that's a decision that has to be made later. And so these are our characters. So these are our characters. So we've got Madison, who is a hopeless romantic who is willing to win at all costs, is all for betraying, backstabbing for the sake of her relationship. And then we have Liam, who presents as confident, cool, confident, but in actuality, he is 100% willing to deceive to get ahead. And so that is causing him a lot of distrust and paranoia for the people around him. Then we have Andy, our sad boy Andy, who is feeling trapped about his financial status. He's living in two worlds. Then we have our not so plain Jane, who she is internally grieving. I'm sorry, I had to give you some heartache. So who's grieving the loss of either a friend or a sibling? We haven't decided yet. So I'm pretty interested in our characters so far. I can't wait to see where our story goes for them. I'm going to do another video that goes through the exposition. So the exposition is kind of like where their lives are in the beginning of the story, and then whatever that conflict is, that kind of is the reason for the story. So we'll probably touch upon that. I'll also probably do another vision board, storyboard, collage for the trials, the different trials that'll happen throughout the story, but I won't do one for the ending because some people don't like spoilers, and I am planning to write out the story. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little process. I thought it was a lot of fun. This is the first time I ever used the Jamboard, and I love to make collages. I'm really interested in these characters, like I said, and I just want to see where they'll go. If you thought this was interesting, give it a like, and I'll see you next time. That's the video, guys. Thanks. Bye. I've been seeing a lot of... No, please. Just please, I just want to get through it. No, boo! Stop saying, That's very annoying to have to cut out all the time. So let's try it out. Let's try it out.